When you're ready to move on to your good copy of your portrait, we're going to get our packet ready and we have our tracer. The first step is to lightly draw those lines that divide our head. So we want one through the center going horizontally, so across, and one very, very lightly going through the center vertically, so up and down. I know that in this clip you can barely see that line, but that's how it should be anyway. You also can make your chin since we only had a tracer. Remember, I also said that you need to be drawing 5 eyes across your page that are all the same size. So you can measure out your eyeball on your face and lay it down on your paper. They all want to be the same size. Start with 1 in the center and 2 on each side. Once you have that, you may realize that your head is a little more narrow or maybe a little bit wider than what the tracer is. Mine was a little more narrow in where my eyes were, but I do have some wide cheeks. So I made my cheeks a little wider and I made the rest of my head a little bit more narrow so that it looks a little more realistic. Once you resize your head shape, you can erase your extra eyeballs so that you only have 2 the way that you should. Remember that when we paint, it's hard to erase on that with a regular eraser. So if you have one of my pink erasers, you can use that. But if there's not a big eraser left on your pencil, please ask for one so that we don't smudge our paint. You can resize that head shape to however works for you and then continue on using your packet. Please make sure you're reading all of your directions and going nice and slow so that everything ends up in the same place. You want it to look realistic, so we want to make sure we have proper spacing between our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. You also want to make sure that we don't just draw a line for our nose. We want to follow the steps to create the things on our face that we need. So follow along with that packet until your drawing is complete. Once you're done drawing your face, follow the steps in your packet to give yourself a nice outline of your hair. Once that's complete, you're now ready to begin tracing over your features using oil pastel. Please try to find a pastel that matches your skin color and begin going over the places on your face that would be skin colored, like your nose, your mouth, anywhere that is your skin color, you're going to go over with what color that matches you the best. Then you can very carefully begin filling in your eyes and your eyebrows. Eyebrows, remember, are going to be tiny little hairs that make them up. You don't have to just color in a solid shape. I would make little tiny marks to add in the texture for your eyebrows. I also would be very careful with your eyes. So I started outlining them with my skin color, and then I went in and used my white oil pastel for the whites of my eyes, then my skin color, and then my black for my pupil. I have a little white highlight, and I just kept very slowly using the edge of my oil pastel because you don't want to cover up your drawing. You just want to add your color. So make sure you're going nice and slow and paying attention to your details. The trick with oil pastels too is to keep your wrist off your paper. If you have your wrist smudging across your paper, then it will smudge your whole drawing and it will ruin your painting. So you want to go nice and slow and make sure that you're not pushing your wrist down on top of the colors that you're adding. As you guys know, my hair changes color sometimes, so my hair took a lot more time than I think yours should. You might have a lot of colors in yours too, but mine's really tricky to get perfect, and if that's the case for you, just take your time. You can layer oil pastels. You can go nice and slow. Just by the end, make sure that it's solid. You don't want to see your skin color through your hair, so take your time, make it look really nice. And when you're finished your hair, you can add your shirt. You can make that whatever color you'd like. You'd like to add a little bit more detail, make it look a little more realistic, you can find an oil pastel that's really close to your skin color, but a little darker to go in to maybe add some shadows of where your hair would cast a shadow, maybe where your nose shadow is, or on your neck where your hair or your head would create a shadow on that neck part. That part is up to you. I would recommend making sure you outline every pencil line. You don't want loose pencil lines. You want there to be color over all your lines. But you can add a shadow for more realistic detail if that's something that you'd prefer in your portrait.